Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adelle, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Hey guys, we have made it to the final part, part 3, last but not least. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things, and that's confidence. But in this case, we're talking about interview confidence, how to get it, how to make sure your nerves are in check because we all get nervous. So how to manage the nerves, just how to feel more confident, show up more confident, because as I always say, it's the energy behind the action that determines the result. I literally feel like I could speak about interviews forever, for hours and hours and hours, because there's so much to talk about, especially these days where you've got these people asking you to come for 4, 5, even 6 rounds of interviews, which in itself is actually a joke. I just want to say, if a company is asking you to show up for 6 interviews or 4 interviews for one role, you might want to consider if that's a red flag. I'm not saying it's a red flag every time, but 95% of the time, it might be a red flag, because why is it taking them that long to decide if you're good at the job? They're probably going to take that long to make decisions, to offer you pay rises, to give you promotion. I'm just saying, consider each interview. What have you been asked to do? Were they just looking for a bit of free labor before they offered you the job? I just want you to really consider, someone I know went on 6 rounds and then didn't get the job, but 6 rounds is a joke. And some of it, you can tell she was just giving them free labor. So yeah. Anyway, I just went off on a tangent. Let's get into this episode, all about you showing up as your best self and being the most confident you can be. When people ask me, how do I manage interview nerves? I tell them you need to become more confident. That's the counteraction. That's how you balance those nerves. Anytime I'm in a nervous situation, which is often, I want you guys to know, nerves don't discriminate. It doesn't matter who you are. We all get them. I get nervous still to this day before I go on live on Instagram. I get nervous before, interviews, speeches, whatever it is. I get nervous. We all get nervous. But the way you counteract nerves is by reminding yourself who you are, why you're wherever it is you are, and what you're bringing to the table. And no, it doesn't take away all your nerves, but it takes away a massive portion. Other ways you can get rid of nerves. Start putting on some music. What music makes you feel powerful, gives you that vibe, makes you feel like you're that girl, you're that bitch. What makes you feel good? That song for me is I Be Feeling Like the Man When I Walk Through. You know that song? Watch me walk through. Okay, no one needs to hear me sing, but you guys get the point. There are songs that give you a certain energy, that make you feel a certain way. Put them on before you have to go for an interview. Get yourself in the zone. I have a system that I teach my clients in my signature program, Create Your Own Lane, and it's called the ICJP formula. And if you've ever been on one of my interview masterclasses, you will also have heard about this formula. Each letter stands for something, and it's how you prepare for your interviews, and it will also help you with a little bit of confidence. So this is the first thing we're going to get into when it comes to confidence. Let's talk about my ICJP formula. What does it stand for? Industry, company, job description, personal/practice. It's not hard. It's easy. And once you start using it, you will start smashing interviews. I see my clients going from 4 interviews, no offers, to 2 interviews, 2 offers within 72 hours, simply by using these steps. So the industry. If you are switching industry, going into a new industry, or even if it's your current industry and you could brush up, I want you to do research on that industry. What is the industry about? What are some new trends that maybe you've seen on Google? If you're going into tech, what are some new trends in the tech industry that you could talk about? What is it about that industry that has drawn you to it and also that stands out? What lingo do they use? Words. All industries have certain words, certain ways they speak. Can you incorporate some of those words into your answers by knowing them? Because Familiarity is a really important thing in interviews. If you use a few words just here and there, I'm not telling you to learn and recite all the new words in a new industry. But what I am telling you is if you can pick up a few words here and there and then use them in the interview, it makes you feel familiar to the person interviewing you because it's words that they use on a daily basis. It's things that they are used to hearing. So understanding the industry is great. Also, when you've researched the industry, if you've never worked in that industry before, you will have insight. And you will be able to connect your skills to that industry because you have a basic understanding of the industry. Again, when you're talking an interview, having a basic understanding is better than having zero understanding. Being able to say, even if you haven't worked in an industry, you have knowledge on X, Y, Z. That is going to be helpful. That is also going to make you stand out because they're going to be like, well, this person is serious about getting into this industry or getting this role because they've at least learn, research, they understand a little bit of the lingo. You're already one step ahead, basically. Next is company. Now, industry is really broad. You can learn about an entire industry and the basics and the lingo, but then you want to go to the company website. You want to go to the LinkedIn. You want to start following a couple people, or even if you don't follow them, you want to start looking at things that they post, things that they talk about. Try find the hiring manager. Try and find the LinkedIn of the person that's interviewing you. If you've got a name of the person that's interviewing you on your form, try and find their LinkedIn. Who are they? What do they do? But anyway, company. If you can find people in the company, see what they talk about, see what they do, find the person that's interviewing you, that gives you a little bit of a head start. Because you can now find common ground between you and the company and you and the person interviewing you. And you can drop it in at your interview. This should definitely help you feeling more confident because you can use connections to your advantage. You can say, yeah, I follow you on LinkedIn and I saw that you were speaking about XYZ and I'm really also interested in that. And in one of my last roles, I did da-da-da-da-da. Make the connection. Da-da-da-da-da just means make the connection. You get what I'm talking about. Also, when you're looking on the company website, what's their mission? What's their vision? What are they looking for? What have they been doing for the last 5, 10, 15 years? Companies always show off on their website and they'll be like, for the last 10 years, we've been the most innovative marketing company or whatever it is. And they're going to tell you what they do. Different companies might be like, we've been in business for 42 years. And during that time, we've been able to, and then they're going to tell you what they've been able to do. How can you connect yourself to that? What have you done in the past, in personal life, that connects you to that? I've interviewed people when I was in childcare, and one of the things they would say is, I've not necessarily worked in childcare, but being a mum and seeing that you guys take security and checks really, you have them really high, you really care about them, they're really important to you guys. That has made me want to interview with you guys. I want to work for a company who cares about the safety of children because as a parent, that's important to me. Do you see? That person went on our website, they looked at what we do and made a connection. It's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be this really hard way of doing things. Look at the company. What do they do? Any recent wins that the company have had? Talk about it. Have they won any awards lately? Because if they have, it's going to be on their website. If they had, it's going to be on their LinkedIn. If they have, it's going to be on their Instagram page. Have they won awards recently? What is their initiative at the moment? What are they pushing? What are they talking about most on their socials? Can you incorporate that into your interview? Third, we're going to look at the job description. The J in ICJP is job description. And you guys already know, I tell you all the time, the job description is your cheat code. Pull the job description, go through it. Just like I said in part 1 when I was talking about career change interviews, do the same thing. Get the job description, go through it. Have a look at things you have done and things you haven't done. And if you haven't done it, try and find evidence where you might have done it and you just haven't realized. Have you done something similar in your personal life? Have you done something similar voluntarily, supporting people you know, unpaid work? Have you done something similar? So not the exact same thing, but very similar in your jobs previously. Make notes all over the job description. Connect yourself to the job description so you can feel like, oh, actually, the reason I know I'll be able to do these tasks is because of this, even if you haven't done it before. There's things sometimes that we look at and we're like, I definitely think I'll be able to do this thing because in the past, or I used to do X, Y, Z. It's like if you're in sports and someone's trying to teach you a new sport, your automatic connection will be like, well, I'm really fit anyway. I do a lot of sports. I run a lot, whatever it is. And if they're trying to teach you something you've never done, that's how you'll connect to it in your own brain. Because you'll be looking at the fact that, but even if you've not done that specific sport, you've done other sports. You're quite fit. you take your fitness seriously, you eat well, whatever it is, you can find a connection. I want you to do the same with a job description. I want you to see yourself doing the job, because the problem for a lot of people is they're showing up at interview and they haven't even really thought about themselves in that job. They haven't networked and talked to people who do the job to find out more information about the job. They haven't done the research, the industry and the company, like in my ICJP formula. They haven't looked at how will they fit into the role. Why do you even want to go for this role? And why do you think you'll be good at it? It cannot just be, oh, I'm qualified. Okay, but how are you going to use that qualification to help you do that job? What qualities do you have? When you look at that job description, I want you to think of all the ways you will be able to do each of the duties on that list. Whether you've done them or not, what makes you think you'll be able to do them? What about you is going to help you to learn to do them? What characteristics, skills, qualities, what about your personality, what strengths do you have right now that are going to help you with that job description? What things have you learned previously really quickly and really easily that might connect, and it will show that you'll be able to learn this job easily? And then last but not least, the P for ICJP is practice/personal. And the reason it's two things is because personally, like when I say personal, how are you personally connected to the job? It kind of goes hand in hand with job description. What are your personal attributes that are going to make you good at this job? Not qualifications, none of that, because the thing that makes you stand out above qualifications, above like previous experience, is who you are and how that connects to a job. I've said this a million times and I'll say it again. I'm a problem solver. I will connect that to any job in any industry. I'm likable. People like me. How is that going to help my employer? I sit back, I look at the job description and I think, how is that part of my personality going to help in this job that I'm applying for? How is me being a problem solver going to help in this role? If you are the queen of administration, how is that going to help in the role that you are applying to? If you have always been the go-to person in your office or in your personal life, if you are the person that gives the best advice and everyone trusts, how is you being someone that everyone trusts going to help in this job? What are your personal attributes that are going to help in this job? This is where your confidence will come from, because you are not trying to be anything that you're not. You are just trying to think about what you know you are and how it can connect to the job and how it can help you get the offer. And that's the difference. People are always trying to put themselves into the interviewer's box. They're thinking, okay, the interviewer wants me to say this and this and this. And it doesn't come across as authentic because it's not the real you. You're not talking about who you really are and what you really bring to the table. It's so easy to overlook the qualities we have and not value them at all. We undervalue what we have because we use it every day and we don't see it as a big deal. But if you start thinking about all the qualities you already have and how you can connect them to the job, oh my gosh, you will fly. Your confidence will be on 10 because you're showing up talking about exactly who you are. Do you know how easy it is to talk about who you are and how much more comfortable it feels and how much you will reduce your nerves because you're just talking about who you are? And then the other part of the P, so other than personal, it also means practice, because you know what? You need to practice. You need to practice at least 2 or 3 things, like think about 2 or 3 scenarios from past experiences, past jobs, where you can talk about like those questions where they're definitely going to ask you, tell me a time when. That question is coming up. And it's going to be a time when you've won, a time when you've lost. Like they're always going to ask you something to show those qualities, to see if you can sort of show when you've delivered a result, but also show when you failed and maybe how you've evaluated and made sure it didn't happen again. They're always going to ask you these questions. So practice is important, but do not overdo it, because sometimes we over practice and now we're stressed because now we're trying to memorize stuff like a robot. You're not a robot. The reason for practice is like get someone you trust to ask you some questions. If not, go on Google, look at some interview questions and just think to yourself, how would I answer this question? Using the formula I've just mentioned, how would you answer that question? You've already connected how you are connected to the job description. You've already connected yourself to the job description. You've already connected yourself to the company. You've researched the industry. You're thinking of all the different ways like you can use the lingo. Practice. Practice your answers to the most common questions. You can't know all the questions they're going to ask, but there are certain ones you know are coming. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Practice. Practice so that you can see, am I giving a good enough answer? Is it connecting me to the job? Is it helping them see me turn up on a Monday morning to do the job with them? I want you to really think about that when you're practicing. And like I said, get someone to practice with. If not, record your answers on your phone. No one else has to hear it. You can just listen back to it. Are you happy with it? Are you comfortable with it? Do not overdo it, like I said. But if you are someone who likes repetition and knows that repetition works for them, some people, if you do something over and over again, you just keep getting better and better at it. That's what practice is about. So if repetition works for you, I want you to keep practicing, because then that's going to be great for you. Prep before interview is really important. Just feeling ready, being ready. But over preparing does the opposite. If you prepare too much, you will stress yourself out. So do what you can. And this is why confidence is something that doesn't happen overnight and should be a skill that you are practicing and strengthening consistently. And pay attention to the fact that I said a skill, because it can be learned. I was the least confident person growing up. I was bullied when I was really young. And then I got to secondary school and I refused to allow that to continue to be my story. And I worked on becoming confident. And at first it was a lot of fake it till you make it. But I worked on becoming confident. I decided I wanted to be more confident. I am a big old introvert. Contrary to popular belief, you lot hear me on here, my friends know it, people that are close to me know it. If I'm with people I care about or in environments that I'm comfortable, I come across as an extrovert. So you could call me an extroverted introvert if you want to, but I am a big old introvert, to be honest. I show up on here. It's easy. No one can see me. I'm on my podcast. I'm sitting in my house chatting to you guys, sharing what I know. That's easy. Showing up on live on Instagram. It's easier now. It never used to be. Talking on LinkedIn, going on other people's podcasts, doing workshops. They have all become easier. But that's because I'm confident in what I bring to the table in my job. It's much easier for me to show up confidently in my work because I have worked on my confidence overall, but I have specifically worked on building a strong career identity. Go back and listen to that episode if you haven't, because it's an amazing episode. But I have worked on building that identity, believing in who I am and what I bring to the table, and not worrying so much about what I don't have. Anything I'm not good at or I need to learn, I'm confident that I can learn it. But in the meantime, I have this to bring to the table. And that's what I want you to think about when you're going for interviews. Yes, there's always going to be things you can learn. Yes, we can all get better. If you're not learning, you're not growing. That's amazing. But in the meantime, while you're learning and growing something like new things, what have you already got that you're bringing to the table? What has gotten you this far in your career? How did you get your first job, your second job, your first promotion? How are you where you are now? What qualities do you have? You will be bringing them with you to every new job. Because like I say, it doesn't matter the industry, but it does matter what skills you use within that industry and how you'll be able to transfer them into a new industry. Confidence is a skill that you can build. Confidence is the basis of everything because your energy behind a strategy is what makes the strategy work. I see people try hundreds of different strategies, hundreds of different CV strategies, hundreds of different interview strategies, and then say to me, nothing works. Because you don't think it's going to work, because you're not even confident in who you are. And unless you get confident in who you are, you will keep hearing no. Or you'll get the yeses, but not with the salaries you want. Because the level of interview that you're giving is McDonald's, but the money you want is caviar level. The money you want is gauchos, but you're interviewing at a McDonald's level. The answers you're giving are McDonald's and KFC, but you're trying to get STK and gaucho money. You're trying to get Nobu money. You're trying to get sexy fish money. You get where I'm coming from. We can't show up with minimal confidence and expect maximum results. I'm not saying that people that aren't confident won't get results, but you'll keep getting the crap that you don't want or getting halfway to what you want instead of the full shebang. So if you want the full shebang, you've got to work on that confidence. In my one-to-one coaching, this is what we always work on. Like when I talk about create your own lane, it's because in that program, I really watch my clients create the careers they want, whether that's a totally new industry, double the salary, starting a business, whatever it is, they're able to create it because we work on the confidence first, because we work on the career identity first, because they are now showing up at interviews thinking about, well, this is what I have and this is how it connects to the role. So that's what I'm going to talk about at this interview. When someone asks them, well, you don't have this specific experience, they're ready because they used the J in my ICJP formula. They checked the job description. They saw the gap that they had in their experience and they said, okay, even though I've got this gap, I have done this, which is really similar to this. So me learning this new thing's not going to be a problem. And that's how they show up at interview. It's not a problem. If it's not a problem to you, it won't be a problem to the person you're speaking to. If you make it a problem, it will be a problem. If you've got a gap in your experience, don't make it a problem. If you've got a gap in your history, like you haven't worked for a long time, so you've got a career gap, why are you making it a big deal? I went to a job and I did a job for 3 months. It was under 3 months. It was like 11 weeks. I didn't care. Oh, well. I didn't like the job. It was awful and I refused to stay. When I went to my next interview, I wasn't like, oh, well, I wasn't over-explaining anything. Firstly, I'm not going to bash any job I've ever been to. Make sure you're not doing that. Don't ever bash a job that you've been at before. Answer in a nice way. We always clean that up. I clean that up with my clients all the time. You should not be bashing your old job. You should be saying why you're interested in the new job. Take the focus off of why you left your last job. But yeah, don't make a gap in employment an issue or a short, only being somewhere for a really short period of time. Why is it an issue? Why are you making it a problem? I'm not making it a problem. I was there 3 months. The role wasn't enough of what I needed, but I feel like your role has X, Y, and Z. I really enjoyed my time in that role. However, I'm really ready to start using this skill. So why did you leave after 3 months? That's the reason. I'm ready to use more of insert your biggest strength. And when I looked at your job, I think I'll be able to use that here. If they then ask you, well, what if you start with us and then you leave? Based on this job, I don't feel like I will. And as I've said to you, I want to be able to use X, Y, Z, insert your strengths. And from what I can see, this role has that. So if you tell me a little bit more, if this role has that, I know for a fact I'm going to want to stay. I'm going to want to grow. Let's go. Don't make it a problem. It isn't a problem, to be honest. But when we're doubting ourselves and we're not sure of ourselves, we make it a problem. We eliminate the 10 years of other experience we have or the other great jobs where we stayed for 3 years and we hyper focus on that one job where you only stayed for 3 months or the 2 jobs where you stayed for 3 months and 6 months. You make that a problem instead of being well, this job, I was there for 4 years and the job before that I was there for 2 years. Things happen. I don't feel like it's going to happen again. The truth is you can't know it might happen again. But when you're at interview, you don't feel like it's going to happen again because your intention isn't for it to happen again. When you show up at interview, you're selling potential and intention. You intend to be a great employee because they're going to be a great employer. If they are then not a great employer, then it's not your fault that you have to leave and you're not a great employee because it goes both ways. When you show up with more confidence at interview, you will start to notice red flags sooner. You will start to realize all these jobs that you think are so great are actually trash and you're not even interested in them anymore. Because instead of you being desperate to get a job, you're desperate to get a career that you can enjoy, that pays you well and isn't full of toxic people and toxic culture, but is actually a place where you can thrive and grow and develop. I used to change jobs every year and a half or 2 years, literally without fail. Every 18 months or 2 years, I was out the door because either the job wasn't giving me what I wanted or it wasn't there was no growth, there was no progression. And then I finally got this career thing right and I found a job that I have been in that I was in for almost 11 years. 11 years. No one thought I could stay in a company that long or in a job that long. I didn't even think I could. But I was able to change roles. I was able to get pay rises. I was able to grow, develop, change my title and do so many things in that job. I never wanted to leave. I loved it. This career thing will start to feel more fun because let's face it, labor and work, it can be mind-numbingly boring, even if you do something you enjoy. But it will start to feel better and start to feel more fun when you start to feel more confident because you are showing up from a place of, I am good at this. If this can help you at your company, I would love to share these qualities with you and I expect this level of pay. You will start putting price tags on your experience, on any qualifications you've got, on just your best characteristics and your strengths. You will start saying, put some respect on my name. When I talk about problem solving, I'm like, listen, this is how much it's going to cost you if you want me to come to your company and start problem solving. And I make no apologies for that level of confidence. Recently, I did a post actually on LinkedIn about bragging and about the fact that we don't brag enough as women. And someone commented and was like, oh, if you brag too much, it comes across as arrogant. And it was a man. And I was thinking to myself, if I was a man, would this still be the same conversation? And also, arrogance is when you think you're better than someone or you're superior and you're trying to make yourself look amazing when you might not actually be that amazing. But bragging comes with receipts, or it should. It comes with evidence. When you are talking about the things you are great at and it's true and you can feel into it, and this is why I said look at the job description and connect it to who you are. When you know you're good at something, you have about 20 scenarios that you can talk about. You have about 30 things that you can say to people like, oh yeah, there was a time when this happened and this happened and this happened, because you can show off that skill because it's true. I can tell you 20 different times when I've solved a problem for my own company, for a friend, for family members, for a different department than I worked in, because that's who I am. So it's easy for me to give you examples. When they ask me, tell me a time when at interview, I think about, okay, whenever I problem solved, how did problem solving help with that? Okay, let me talk about this time. It gets easier because I'm only talking about me and what I'm actually good at, not what I think someone wants me to be good at. Bragging, like I said, comes with receipts. You're telling people what you can do. And when you're not willing to brag, when we're sitting around saying, oh, we done it, when we did this, stop saying we at interviews. It wasn't we, it was you. If you done it, say you done it. Don't be embarrassed to brag, especially when you can back it up with evidence. All bragging is saying what you are good at, why you're good at it, and how it will bring value to someone else or to a company. There is never a problem with bragging when it comes from that place. As a woman, you are told too often, be more ladylike, don't be too loud, don't show off, you're too nuff, you're too extra, you're too much. I'm here to tell you, you trying to subdue and hide and hold back and not be true to you, and you trying to dim your light is why you lack confidence, is why you let your shitty boss talk to you like you're an idiot, is why you're scared and you're walking on eggshells at work because you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to call me into the office because there's going to be a problem, rather than you owning who you are. Not bragging reinforces in your mind that you're not good at things. When you brag about things and talk about yourself in a positive light, it reinforces how good you are. It reinforces the good things so that when you have the negative thoughts, you can counteract them because you've been reinforcing the good thoughts. When we hold back and we don't reinforce the good things about ourselves and we don't build our confidence, it leaves us stress. It gives us anxiety because we're literally working against ourselves. We're not being who we really are. We doubt our character even more and we stay in jobs that keep us underpaid and overworked. If you bragging about yourself makes other people feel uncomfortable, it says a lot about them, especially, like I said, if you are being arrogant, like I said, I just had inverted commas with my hands, like you lot can't see me, but arrogance is showing off. Arrogance is trying to feel superior. Arrogance is trying to make someone feel bad. Me saying to you, I'm great at problem solving, shouldn't make someone feel bad. If you feel bad, it's one of two things. You wish you were good at problem solving, so you're feeling bad because you're like, oh, you're jealous. That's what it is. It's envy. There's no other reason like that you would feel annoyed if I say to you, I'm good at problem solving. And then the other reason is that you don't know what you're good at. So when other people talk about what they're good at, it triggers you because you haven't worked on your confidence. So just think about those things. If you don't want to be underpaid, overworked, being spoken to like crap, in a shitty environment that doesn't give you any growth or progression, if you are in a job right now that looks good on paper, but it is nothing what you thought it was going to be, if you're not being valued at work and you're tired, you feel out of place, you're just not in the right place, something's saying to you, this is not right for me. And that usually is because you know you deserve more. Then what you need to work on is your confidence. And I hope that this episode has given you a little insight into how to work on that confidence for your next interview. Because I want you to show up and get offers. I don't want you to have to go to 30 interviews just to get an offer. I want you to be able to go to 3 interviews, get 3 offers. And if that ratio feels a bit like, oh, there's no way, then I want you to go to 3 interviews and at least get 2 offers. Because we should at least be getting more than 50% of the offers. And the better you get at interviewing and the more confident you get at who you are, you will pick the right companies, you will show up authentically and confidently, and you will automatically get more offers. I have clients that go 1 job, 1 offer. When I'm working with people, I'm not working on like, let's do 100 interviews. Because yes, that system can also work. If you throw enough shit at a wall, something will stick. So yeah, if you go to more interviews, there's more likelihood that you will get offers. But in Create Your Own Lane, I work with clients so deeply on their confidence, so much on being able to communicate. Like communication is so underrated, but being able to communicate what they're good at and then back it up with confidence and then connect it to the jobs they're interested in. We work so much on that so often they go for 1 interview and get an offer. And when I say 1 interview, I mean 1 interview at a company. They might go through 3 rounds for that 1 role, but that's it. Job's offered. And sometimes they want that job and they don't go for any other interviews. And other times they're like, nah, that's not for me, because they're that confident. And they're like, let's keep going. And they go for another interview. And maybe that's a no. And they're not interested. And then they go for another interview and they get that offer. And that's a yes. But we work on being very intentional. And when you're confident, it is easier to be intentional. You're not trying to show up at all the companies for all the interviews. You're trying to show up at the right place with the right culture, with the right salary, and get that offer. This series has been really fun. Like I said to you guys, I could probably talk about interviews for days. There's so much. So if you have questions about interviews, DM me. Drop me a message on Instagram. I'll message you back. I literally love talking about this stuff. I love just talking about confidence, because confidence is a game changer in your career. Want to switch industries? Get more confident. Want to get job offers without having to send out applications because you're so good at networking, you've networked your way into a role? Get more confident. Want to have to go to less interviews because you're getting so many more offers? Get more confident. I hope you've enjoyed this series. If you've not listened to all 3 parts, go back, listen to parts 1 and 2. This is the 3rd and final. Like I said, part 3, I'm sure at some time in the future, we'll talk about something different to do with interviews. And if you have something specific about interviews that you want me to talk about, or just something that you want me to talk about in general, reach out, drop me a message, leave a comment on the podcast. Let me know, what do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to share? How can I help you? This podcast is meant to be your cheat code to smashing your career goals. So tell me what you need, and I'm here to help. The next episode coming up after this is going to be so good. I already know what it is, and I can't wait for you to hear it. I have a very amazing guest coming. She's an author, speaker, coach. She's amazing, and I can't wait for you to listen to that episode. But for now, like I said, go get these offers. Use this 3-part series to help you. And then when you get the offer and you need to negotiate and get more money, go back and listen to my December series where I talk about how you can get more money. Because we don't play. We want the amazing job and the amazing salary. We want it all. Anyway, this has been a fun episode, guys. And I will speak to you on the next episode. I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials. Tag me on Instagram and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and career. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.